Salvete omnes.
Salve.
All right.
311 days to live.
Nice. That's exciting. Miss Tess, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. Your audio's bad, Audrey. So do you just need to be, you just need to type in the chat when I'm calling you? Is that okay? Is that right? Okay, great. Doing well, huh, Tess? You had a good weekend?
Yes, I did. Yesterday was actually really relaxing. I got to sit and read The Case for a Creator on the hammock. So It was a really good day yesterday.
Is that Lee Strobel?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I've not read that one. I've read The Case for Christ and The Case for Faith, but not The Case for a Creator. Audrey, on a scale of thumbs up to medium to thumbs down, how was your weekend? Thumbs up. Okay, great. Did you have a meal that you might say, wow, that meal really hit home? So just type in what meal that was, like sort of the main ingredients, if you don't mind. Ooh, grilled burgers. Okay, I'll take that. Nice. Okay, great. Miss Ellie, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. New house or old house, Ellie?
New house.
New house?
Yeah. Yep.
Whoa, how cool is that? And is that your room or is that somewhere else?
It's mine. It's not completely done though, so.
Well, sure, you just moved in. That's exciting. Wow, congratulations.
Thanks.
What did I do?
I don't know what you did, Zoe, but.
Well, I clicked it.
Okay, so don't click anymore. Oh, let's not do that, Zoe. Thanks. Hi, Malachi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. What's on the ledge behind you? Is that a rock?
No, that's my hedgehog.
Hedgehog, like an actual living, breathing animal?
No, it's
Oh,
stuffed.
Okay, I was gonna say it's really good at playing dead. Got it. That's fun. Jude, how are we doing today?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You had a good weekend?
I've had better.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it wasn't terrible though.
Sure. Miss Sage, how are we doing?
Good.
Great. And you moved to locations again, right?
Yeah, I'm in my bedroom this time.
Got it. What's on top of the ledge? That's what I want to know. Behind you, there's a ledge.
It's not a ledge, it's a shelf. That's a shelf.
I have some fake plants, and then I have an S light, and then some cats.
I don't know what an S light is. Oh, this is a light that's shaped like an S, I believe. As the name implies.
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's see here. We're missing Jonah and Lawrence, if my calculations are correct.
And Eva.
And Eva.
Jonah, Lawrence, Eva. Okay. Got it. Let me make note here. Zoe's going to text them. We're looking at Jonah, Lawrence, and Miss Eva. Okay, great. I don't know if you guys saw the shirt I was wearing. Pretty excited to wear this today. It's one of our KJCL shirts from years past. The convention would have been on Friday, actually. So I kept getting notices on my phone on Friday about the convention. So we'll have to look forward to that next year. So that's that. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and get rolling. On your lesson plans. Is that hair on the screen? Sorry about that. Oh, Zoe, sorry, I forgot to ask you. How was your weekend?
Good.
What was the best meal you had this weekend, Zoe?
Pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls. Now, lest you all think that's fancy, they're made by, well, they are fancy. They're made by a fancy company called Totino's. There we go.
Pizza rolls with an orange and carrots.
Pizza rolls with an orange and carrots. There's her best meal of the weekend. I would have gone with the grilled burgers that you all made, Zoe.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay. Well, all right. There you have it.
I made it so it was less fun. It was less fun to eat because I didn't have much work.
Okay. So, folks, we read 4.24. We're about to read 4.25. Zoe, can you shut that door, please? That'd be great. So, as you know, it's Miracle Monday, which simply means that I'll translate and then you guys translate. So, if you just pay attention, if all you do is pay attention, you'll be amazing translators. So, there we go, folks. Did we finish? Let me just make sure. Did we finish? Did we finish 4.24? Did we do that last little bit on page 50? That's really my question. Audrey, yay or nay? Did we do the last little bit on page 50? We already translate that? I don't know that we did. No, I don't know that we did. Let's go to page 50. Look at nostri. When Caesar says nostri, he's usually talking about his men. Well, I shouldn't say his men, the Roman army. That's what he's talking about. When it's not modifying anything, nostri means our men, all right? So astute readers, I know that you guys like to take notes as we go. So you're either typing that in or you're writing it down. Nostri means our men if it's not with anything else. Okay, our men or our soldiers, you might say. So that's that. So our men. One other note, and I'm actually going to share the screen for this one. And I think we've mentioned it before. Caesar likes to start. He starts a sentence with quibus, as he does here. So when qui quod starts a sentence, it means and these or and those. We don't start sentences this way. We don't start sentences with which, but Romans didn't care. They don't mind starting sentences with which. So instead of translating as which, we're going to say and these or and those. Okay? So that's how that works. So you might make note of that as well. So I'm going to start just by saying and nostri, and our men, per teriti. What does per mean? Per, P-E-R. No, just the per part, P-E-R. Through. So if you are teriti through, that means you're terrified all the way through, all the way to your core. All right? So per teriti means terrified. Okay, terrified or frightened all the way through. So our men, terrified by these things. Okay, terrified by these things, or they're frightened all the way through by these things. Remember all those disadvantages they had. The other guys throwing from the shore, them not knowing the land, them having to jump into the water, all those things. Our men terrified by these things. And omnino, altogether, and altogether imperiti. Altogether imperiti. So imperiti is the opposite of periti. So what does periti mean? Anyone?
Skilled.
Skilled. So imperiti means unskilled. And altogether unskilled in this, or it literally means unskilled of this, but you know, unskilled of this generis of fight. Unskilled in this type of fight. Okay, unskilled in this type of fight. Non eadim alacritate, and then we've got to go all the way down to ute bantur. Okay, ute bantur. So they were not using, okay, they were non ute bantur. They were not using, now ute bantur looks passive, doesn't it? It looks passive because it has that untur, but it's actually active because this is a deponent verb. You guys remember deponent verbs from stage, I think it was 30, well, I'm not going to remember the stage number. 34, I think it was actually. Deponent verbs look passive, but they're really active. So they were not using the eadim alacritate. Hi, Lawrence.
Hi.
Not using. Quest. That's good. Thanks. they were not using the same alacritate and studio. They were not using the same eagerness and zeal, or enthusiasm and zeal, with which, with which they were, consuerant, accustomed to uti, with which they were accustomed to use in hand-to-hand combat. Pedestribus proeliis literally means in foot soldiery battles, but we would say hand-to-hand combat. Okay, in foot soldiery battles. Now that's a tough 2.5 lines, to be honest. There were lots and lots of things that I had to explain. I'm going to go through that again, starting at the top, because that's a tough couple lines. Whoever gets called on for that is going to have to really be locked in this morning. All right, Lawrence, we're on page 50. We're at the, there's only 2.5 lines there, but they're a tough 2.5 lines. So if this is what gets put on your final, holy moly and guacamole, get ready, baby. Remember, when I put things on your final, it's completely random. So I just put the total number of lines, and then I just put it in a random number generator. That's the only way I know how to do it, okay? Okay, so nostri, we start with nostri. And, well, actually, and our dudes, perteriti, frightened, okay, so put your hand on the Latin, our dudes frightened by these things, and imperiti, unskilled, altogether unskilled, at huius generis pugnae, at this type of fighting, they were not utebonturing. They were not using the eadem alacritate and studio. They were not using the same eagerness and zeal with which, consuerant, they had been accustomed to use in hand-to-hand combat. Okay, is anyone so bold as to try to translate that? Zoe wants it. Okay, Zoe wants it. Zoe gets it. Go ahead, Zoe.
And Armin, who were terrified, and were terrified by these things.
Good.
And altogether unskilled in this type of fight.
Yes, keep going.
They were not using the same zeal and boldness which they were accustomed to use in hand-to-hand combat.
Right. Everybody follow that? Yes? You guys able to follow that? I know we just went through it 3 times, but it's still, I mean, it's tough. Like, you've got to really have your head screwed on straight. Anybody need it one more time before we move on? You feeling okay? Ellie, you feeling okay? Great. Miss Sage, feeling okay about that little passage? If I were to give you all a quiz on that right now, and I just said, translate that thing right now, quiz grade, you'd all be cool.
I'd get 100%, so you should do that.
Audrey, how would you feel good about it? If I give you a quiz on it right now? Ish. So do you need it again, Audrey?
And then let's
there
do a
it
quiz
is.
on it.
Okay.
One more time.
Okay. Does anyone other than Zoe feel bold enough to go for this?
Well, I wrote it in my book. Not all of it. But
Erase it, goof. Okay.
I wrote like 5 words.
Okay, here we go. Who's feeling sort of saucy today? Feeling saucy. Mrs. Lakey's feeling saucy, but I don't think she counts. Well, you don't count in the Latin class. You count in general, though. I notice you. I love you. She matters. She matters, folks. Okay. Let's see here.
There. Is that too many words?
No, it's okay. Ellie, is that a hand? No. Tess has a hand. Okay, Tess, go for it.
Okay, I'll try this out. So, and these men, and our men who were thoroughly terrified, or terrified all the way through, were unskilled in this type
sorry.
warfare.
Let me backtrack you. Hold on, let me backtrack you, Miss Tess. So don't forget the quibus rebus. So our men thoroughly terrified by, now go ahead.
Thoroughly terrified by this type of warfare.
Yeah, good. That's great.
They were not accustomed to fighting in this way with as much zeal and eagerness in hand-to-hand combat.
Yes, you kind of mixed, you got the sense of it for sure, but you kind of mixed the second phrase with the third phrase. All right. So the first phrase I would say is, and our dude's terrified by these things. And imperity. So what's imperity, Tess?
Unskilled.
Unskilled. And what were they unskilled in, Tess?
In this type of warfare.
Exactly. Altogether. So they were unskilled in this type of warfare altogether. And now go to known ute bantur.
What does ute bantur mean again?
Use.
They were not used to.
Using, or the book translates it as showing. They were not showing.
Okay, they were not showing as much eagerness and zeal in this type of combat.
Yeah, with which they consuerant. You know consuerant?
With which they could have.
You're close.
No, I don't know that.
With which they were accustomed. They were accustomed to uti.
With as much as they were to using.
Exactly. So guys, uti and ute bantur are the same root. So if you do it as show in one place, you can do it as show in the other place. Or use is fine. I like use because it reminds me, utor reminds me of use. Also, it's where we get our word use. Usus is that third fun part. So you could say they were not showing, or they were not using the same zeal and eagerness as they were accustomed to use in hand-to-hand combat. So the quo there, you could do it as they were not using as much as. Okay, you could totally do that, or the same as. Remember, dem's the same. Aodim, dem's the same. Okay. So we might have a quiz over that at the end of class today. We'll just see. We'll see how you guys are feeling.
Right now.
Zoe thinks we should do it right now.
If we're gonna have a quiz over it, we should do it right now.
I don't know. I mean, pausing right now to take a quiz that you guys would probably all get a good grade on.
Sounds like a great idea.
I don't know. Audrey, you think pausing right now on a quiz that you all would get a good grade on? You think that's a good idea?
Instead of later when we've all forgotten it.
What do you think, Audrey? Audrey says no. Wait till later, Audrey?
No.
Okay, Audrey says wait till later, folks.
Maybe we could review it a few more times.
I don't know. I feel like I think we've got it. Let's see here. Let's, I'll set a little timer so we don't forget. Hey, Siri, set a timer for 30 minutes, please.
No, not 30 minutes. That's too long.
Your timer is set for 30 minutes.
There we go.
Then I'm going to forget
So
it all.
exciting. Okay, now, quod ubi Caesar animad vertit. One of my favorite chapters in Caesar, by the way. I'll probably say that a lot as we read through Caesar. And we have another quote to start the whole thing. How do we do this? How do we start with a quote? Guys remember?
And these are those.
Exactly. Is quote a singular or plural? Quote, singular or plural, folks? Qui quote. Take a guess. It's a 50-50 shot.
Plural.
All who say it's plural, raise your hand. All who say it's singular, raise your hand. It is most definitely singular. And this. Okay, so quote means and this, because it started the sentence. And when Caesar animad vertit this, when he, look at verto. Verto means turn. Animus means mind, so he turned his mind, which means he noticed. And when Caesar noticed this, okay, when Caesar noticed this, and what is it that what's the this that he noticed? What's the this? What's he been talking about?
A long ship.
It's not the long ship. Tess, I feel like there's someone in there with you. I can't tell who it is. Is someone joining?
Yeah, that's
you?
Leah.
Hi, Leah. Leah wants extra Latin. I don't blame her, not one bit. Okay. And when Caesar noticed this, and I think that this is actually referring back to 4.24, it could be referring back to the lack of zeal, the lack of enthusiasm of the soldiers. Okay. When he noticed this, the naves longas, the long ships, quorum, of which now we've got an et. Anybody remember et?
And also?
No. Good idea.
Both and?
Both and. There we go. The long ships of which both the species, okay, both the appearance was inusitatior to the barbaries, was rather unusual to the barbarians. I said rather because it has IOR. And IOR means more, but here we're not comparing it to anything, so it's just rather. Both the appearance was rather unusual to the barbarians, and the motus, and the movement. The movement was quicker for use. The movement was expeditior. Okay, so the movement was quicker for use. Now we've got to go all the way down to use it. So I just did the first two lines of 4.25. And now I'm going to go down to use it. What does use it come from? What does use it come from? Or what does it mean? Either one.
Judge.
Not judge. Good guess. Use it comes
Order?
from, yes. It means,
Ordered.
yes. It comes from eubeo, as in you bet I'm ordering you. Okay, you bet I'm ordering you. Use it means he ordered. Okay, so this is referring back to the long ships. He ordered. Notice, where did I find use it, by the way? What line? Hold up your fingers if you know what line. Line 5. Good. Excellent work. The imperatus. Oh, interesting there, Lawrence. The imperatus. Would you rather be called imperator? Because that would make you the commander, the one with the imperium.
I don't know. That sounds like a lot of work. The imperial power.
Well, sure. I mean, you would then side with Hadrian, who said that the loneliest position in the world is the most powerful one.
Yep.
He even built himself an island so that he could live on the island. You guys will probably know this. You guys are Roman historians. Built himself an island. What's that, Jude? Go ahead.
I didn't know this. He built himself an island?
Yeah, well, a rather small one. It was symbolic more than anything. So you guys have heard of Hadrian's villa at Tivoli? Have you heard of this?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hadrian built himself a villa. And you guys know where Hadrian traveled the whole empire. Audrey, did you know that? Shouldn't be. Unless somebody's messing with it. Hadrian built himself a villa, and he had gone all over the world, and so he brought in different parts of that villa of the world to the villa. And then as he was building, he actually built himself this little moat around where his private residence was going to be, and then he put his private residence on an island so that he could live there as a marker to say, being the emperor is the loneliest position in the world. But it's probably, I mean, the whole residence is probably no bigger than your house, for instance. Okay, so it wasn't.
Standing?
What's that?
Is it still standing?
The island is, and the ruins of it are still standing.
Okay.
The ruins of Hadrian's Villa, yeah, absolutely.
I feel like the person who digs graves has a pretty lonely job.
Well, usually the person who digs graves is working with somebody, wouldn't you say?
I don't know. If I was hiring someone to dig graves, I'd definitely make them do it alone.
Why?
Because it's incredibly scary. I don't want to be digging graves alone.
Well, sure. Sure. I understand.
What about like an executioner?
That might be yeah, sure. That might be a sort of
No, but you're always up there with someone. You're always up there with
Oh.
someone. You might be about to die, but you're still with someone.
Right.
Oh, bird watching. Does that count as a job? That seems pretty lonely.
yeah, that would be pretty lonely, I would say.
That is not as big as your house.
Let's
I don't know. I
see
feel like
here.
people find bird watching groups so they're not alone while they're doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. Good questions, everybody. Andre, always chip in if you like. By chat. Jonah, welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Okay. So we're at Jonah, we're on page 51. We're talking about what Caesar ordered the longships to do. There we go. Just making sure you guys can still see Zoe there. All right. That's better. All right. Which when Caesar noticed this, the longships, of which both, let's see, the sight of which was rather unusual to the barbarians, and the movement was quicker for this use. He used it down in line 5. He ordered that they be removed a little bit. Okay, that they be removed a little bit. Paulum ab onerarius navibus, from the onerarius navibus. All right. So from the freight ships. Okay, from the onerarius navibus, from the freight ships, and in Kitare, and that they be urged on by the oars. In other words, what's he telling them to do?
Row.
Row. Move out a little bit and row. That's what he's saying. And constitui. And that they be basically anchored or be stood up at the latus apertum, at the open side. Apertum means open. If you see a sign that says aperto, that means open, as opposed to chiuso. Chiuso means closed. Aperto means open in Italian. In Spanish, I believe it's abierto. Is that right, Jenny? Yeah. Abierto in Spanish, aperto in Italian, and here we see apertum in English. Do you guys know what an aperture is? Yes, Audrey does. Where do we usually hear that word aperture? A-P-E-R-T-U-R-E.
Interior decorating.
Nope, Audrey's got it. It's the opening on a camera. Usually there's an aperture speed. So there we go. There's your opening. Good guess, though, Lawrence. I appreciate the guess. So that it be parked, that be constituted, that be parked at the open side of the hostium, of the enemy. And that with fundi, sagitis, and tormentis, they, or the enemy be propelled. Okay? Be driven back. The enemy be driven back with, what are fundis, guys? Fundis are slings, with sagitis, with arrows, and with tormentis. What are tormentis? Catapults. Yep, with all these things. All right. What was that an example of? That was 3 in a row, wasn't it? Yes, parallelism. Jude?
Tricolon crescens.
Tricolon crescens is correct. Tricolon crescens. Yes, because they get bigger each time. We've got slings, arrows, and then catapults. Okay. Yes. Lawrence, question? Or was that not a hand in the air?
It wasn't. I was just trying to decide if a sling could be bigger than a bow.
Yeah, I'm trying to think that too, but I think that's what they're suggesting, at least here. Certainly the bow is bigger than the sling. Maybe that's the implication. Or maybe it's just more accurate. Maybe somehow it's more deadly. So tricolon crescens doesn't necessarily mean bigger each time, but it does mean more of something, right? Something that's increasing. So it could be increasing with efficiency, for instance, for it to be tricolon crescens. And so that they be propelled and submoveried. They be driven back and driven away. Pushed back and driven away. Okay. Which thing was of great use to us? That is, which order was of great use to us? So if I asked you, okay, and if you had enough time, of course, if I asked you to paint a picture of this scene, would you be able to do it? Paint a picture of the scene.
Kind of hard with so many faces.
Okay, with the faces, but I'm talking about, do you understand the action as it's happening? That's really the question.
Yeah.
What's happening in this action? Ellie, you seem unconvinced of being able to paint this. Talk to me, Ellie. What do you know that's happened so far?
Caesar noticed stuff.
He did notice stuff. We're on page 51. What did he order them to do, Ellie?
Row.
Yes, he ordered them to row. Nice. So you've got the first couple frames of your painting. Good. Sage, then what did he order them to do? I don't know if Sage heard me. Miss Sage?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So he ordered them to row, and then he ordered something to be removed a little bit. Which thing was going to be removed a little bit? The boats were going to be removed a little bit, and then set up where? Where did he want the boats set up?
The opening of the open side.
Open side of the enemy. So he says, pull back the boats, and then come around the side, and then start firing. So don't fire straight on. We're at the disadvantage. They know this area. Pull back, come around the side, then fire those three things. Okay, everybody got it? Does that make sense now? Yes, essentially. Great. Okay, it is break time, folks.
Wait.
Yes.
So do they have so they're firing from the boats, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So do they have catapults in the boats?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, Romans have all sorts of things on the boat. They have the long arm also, the long arm of the law, where they can actually connect to other boats. It's a siege ramp. It's called a corvus, a crow's beak, and they can bring it down onto other ships and connect with those other ships, and then they can enter those other ships and engage in hand-to-hand combat instead of having to fire from a ways away.
Okay.
They were so good. Oh my goodness, these guys. Okay, guys, it's time for a break. Everybody stand. Everybody stand where the camera can see you.
My cat's on me.
Your cat's on you. Okay, do you have a way to put your cat to the side? Okay, there we go. Everybody stand. The camera can see you. Okay, now, fan overhead. Don't reach up into the fan. We're just going to reach up. Okay. Reach up. Okay, real nice and high. You're nice and high. Now we're gonna arms out wide. We're gonna bend them over. Okay, fold over your arms as you fold. Let your the weight of your head pull you down. Okay, nice stretch there. Okay. Now we're gonna have a slight knee bend. Okay? You can see me here. We're gonna have a slight knee bend, and then we're just gonna hold our arms out straight, just like this. So if you were with somebody else, like I'm with Zoe here, we're gonna form a little bridge here, okay? But with that knee bend, okay? So don't shoot your knees forward, sit back in the bend, not a 90 degree, we're more at a 60 degree or so, all right? 60 degree, keep those arms up, real nice. Be sure you breathe. Don't stop breathing. Audrey, don't touch the wall. There we go. Just up. There we go. Your arms should form a straight line with your back. That's it. Woo! Doesn't that feel nice? Oh my goodness. How nice is that? That's really, really nice. Great job, everybody. Okay. Miss, let's see here. Nope. Jonah, we didn't hear about your weekend yet. Tell us about your weekend, Jonah.
I mowed the yard.
Okay. Do you get paid for that, or is that one of your regular chores?
It's a chore.
Okay. All right. But it's a nice feeling when it's done, huh?
Yes.
Nice. Lawrence, tell us about your weekend.
I helped build the chicken coop.
Is that right? I didn't know you had chickens.
Yeah, we have chickens, ducks, and turkeys.
Oh. Now, you have these for their eggs or for their meat, or both?
Both.
Okay.
I'm talking about stuff.
Okay. So you're fattening up the duck for Christmas? Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, we're gonna have the duck for sure, probably on like Thanksgiving or something like that, and then we're gonna sell the turkeys and eat the chicken eggs.
Fantastic. I love it. You know what? It's a fun game for me, Lawrence. I like to go into the pet store and find the bunnies. And then I ask the workers if they're meat bunnies, if they're meat rabbits. And they just get really upset. They're like, no, you shouldn't do that. But I just try to be as serious as possible. Oh, it's a meat bunny? How much do you think I can put on this thing? And they're like, no, we can't. No, it's just a pet. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I thought these were for me. And they lose their minds. Lots of fun. Oh boy, you can try it sometime. Or don't. No, Zoe says don't. Zoe says, please don't do that. All right, well. Okay.
I'll do that with like.
Well, it's just kind of, I'm just having fun with those. Okay.
I want to do that with the parrots that cost like $15,000.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's the sort of thing Romans would love to eat. Really expensive animals. No, that's a good idea, Tess. I like the way you think as well. Okay. Guys, are we ready to move on? I feel like we are. Page 52.
Quiz.
Zoe wants the quiz on page 50.
I can actually review it once.
Lawrence and Jonah, would you guys like a review of that before we have the quiz?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, then let's have a little review. Okay. Let's review page 50, and then we'll have a quiz over that, folks. So page 50, we're looking at it very carefully. Our dudes, No Street. Our dudes.
Wasn't it and our dudes?
And our dudes. Nice catch, Zoe. And our dudes. By the way, I'm going to ask you by honor code. If you're writing it down right now, that's okay, but you're going to have to put that down. You're going to have to put away that translation or that marked up text when it comes time for your quiz. Okay. So just so you know. And our dudes, and our No Street, and our dudes scared by these things. Okay, and our dudes scared by these things. We're on top of page 50. And all together, omnino, all together imperiti, all together unskilled by huius pugnai generis, by this type of fight, by this type of battle, let's say. They non ute bantur. Notice I skipped down to the end. They did not use the eadem alacritate ac studio. They did not use the same zeal and eagerness as they had been accustomed, consuerant, as they had been accustomed to uti, to use in hand-to-hand combat, in foot battles, pedestribus proeliis, in foot soldier battles. Lawrence got it?
Is hand-to-hand combat right?
Hand-to-hand combat's just fine. Lawrence got it?
Wait, what's Ox Studio Quo?
Ox Studio. So alacritate Ox Studio means eagerness and zeal. And then quo can either mean with which or as. Either one's fine.
With which they fight.
Is that one Shani? Hi, Shani. Okay. Okay. Any questions, guys, on page 50? I would love it if everybody got 100%. 100. I'd love it if everybody got a 100. Okay. Go ahead. You guys can type this in if you want to, and then send it to me, or you can write it down on a piece of paper and send it to me. Just don't forget to send it to me. All right. So I'm going to pause the video and give you a chance. You can have the book open to that page as long as you haven't written in your book. If you've written in your book, you've got to
Erase everything?
yeah, you got to erase it.
Could we just send you a private chat with
What's that?
our translation? Could we just send you a private chat with our translation?
I don't see why not. I think that sounds great. You guys don't want to do that? Why don't you just send me a private chat?
How about I just write it? Right
Zoe, you can write it, of course, but the rest of you send me a private chat. You can leave that page open, folks. So any words that are there you can use.
Okay. I'm gonna start.
But it's page 50. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pause that recording. There we go. I just wrote down what misses y'all had at this point. Whoops, and there's our timer. So we did that at the exact right time. Nice work, everybody. So I've got you all graded. I'll get those in the grade book for you. You guys can see those, okay? And then Eva will of course make up probably a different little passage, but she'll do that later. Okay. Nice work, everybody. Everybody was pretty close, actually. There were a few times or a few when you guys did miss words. A lot of times it wasn't because you didn't know the word, but it's because you actually left out the whole word. Like you just didn't translate. Okay. So some of you, for instance, didn't translate omnino altogether. Or some of you just didn't translate in foot soldier battles or in hand-to-hand combat, the pedestribus proelegis, for instance. So that was the main miss, was you guys basically just not going back and counting words, okay? Now, let me tell you this. Usually, if you're in the habit of going back and counting words, making sure you have each Latin word accounted for, usually when we're in class and you're writing it down, it's easier to count words when you're writing it down than when you're on a screen, all right? So I'm gonna take that into account when I'm doing the final score, okay? Okay, great. Turn to page 52. 52. Amet navium figura et remorum. And I'm just now thinking against that. I think instead, we're gonna go to 51. And I'm gonna have you guys translate for me because I've already translated 51. So I'm gonna have you guys translate. We'll just go right in order. We'll start with Ellie. Ellie, you're up on page 51. Quod ubi Caesar animad vertit. Go ahead.
And when Caesar noticed this.
Excellent work, Ellie. I'm gonna cut you off right there. Malachi.
Yeah. The long ships. Where do I go after that? Where's the verb I'm looking for?
You can actually do that next phrase without the verb. So you can do quorum et species erat barbares.
Yes. How do you translate quorum?
Of which?
Of which? Of which he saw, of which the sight.
There you go.
Of which the sight of the barbarians.
Interesting. Of which the sight was do et as both and.
Of which the sight of both the barbarians.
So of which both the sight was inusitatior to the barbares.
Of which the sight. Hold on. How did you say that again?
Of which the sight was, or of which both the sight was inusitatior.
Yeah. Was startling. to the barbarians.
Good.
And disturbing.
And the motus.
And the motion. Was quicker or more easy.
Yep. Quicker for Usum.
For them to use.
Exactly. Nice work. Now to Jude. Jude, go ahead.
Yes, of course. He ordered to withdraw a little from the freight ship.
Ships, from the freight ships, good.
And row.
No.
And
it's almost over.
And push on with oars.
Yeah, and then it'd be, exactly. They be pushed on or urged on with oars. Good. Sage, you're up.
Huh?
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
So we're et ad latus apertum. So we're at the end of line 3, start of line 4.
And the wing of the side of the army.
Which side of the enemy? The apertum side.
The exposed.
Good.
I don't know what hostia means.
Oh, you already did it. Of the enemy.
Oh, of the enemy.
Yeah. Do you know constitui? That's the real question.
No.
That means to be stood still or to be anchored.
So the open side of the enemy was anchored.
Right. So this is still what he's ordering the long ships to do. So he ordered the long ships to be anchored at the open side of the enemy. Does that make sense, Sage?
Yeah.
You understand how the Latin works there?
Yep.
Okay. Lawrence, you're up.
So she just said she ordered them to fire at the open side of the enemy?
Well, no, to be set up at the open side of the enemy, and that the hostes be propelled.
And that the hostes be propelled. Okay.
Yep.
That's what I should know. And to push the enemy back?
Yes, and that the enemy be pushed back and sumoeried.
Sunk. Submerged.
It's really almost a synonym. Pushed back and driven back.
Oh.
Yeah.
The enemy should be pushed back and driven back.
By what, Lawrence? That's the real question. By what?
With great fruit. Magna UC.
Well, no, by the fundis, the sagitis, and the tormentis.
Oh, the slings, the bows, and the trebuchets.
Exactly. Tess, you're up.
Okay. So
that's
there is a great which there was a great something of our men.
Yeah, which was of great use to our men. There it is. Okay, thanks, Tess.
Which was of great use to.
That's right. Now, two things, folks. I want to talk to you about the final, and I want to talk to you about your assignment. So two things.
So do we just not go?
Yeah, Jonah and Zoe and Audrey will have to pick you guys up next time. So the final first, so the week of May 11th, okay, that's finals week. We will keep our 2 Zoom meetings. So May 11th will be a review Zoom, and then May 13th will be your final. Okay, where I will be here, you'll be here. That way, if a question comes up, you can ask your question, all right, when you're taking your final. But we'll do both of those by Zoom. I'll be basically monitoring your final. And it'll be over all of Caesar. So it'll be book 1, which you guys are already really familiar with, and then book 4. So I highly suggest that as soon as we're off, you guys review everything we did today, okay? So, which is just pages 50 and 51, that's it, all right? And we've already reviewed them once or twice, or in the case of page 50, we reviewed it about 5 times. And so go back and review those things. So that's your final, and that's finals week. May 11th, we have a review session. May 13th, we have our final. Does that make sense for final? Okay, great. Now, your assignment in the RenWeb says that you are to prepare 4.26. I'm going to change that. Instead, I want you guys to prepare the rest of 4.25. Okay, so what that means is, whoops, that's still on there. Sorry about that.
So does that mean it's going to be on the final?
Oh,
4.25?
Yeah, I mean, everything we do is going to be on the final, Sage. So yeah, absolutely. But remember, today's just April 27th, so we still have a couple more weeks of learning before we go to review mode. That's why I want you to keep reviewing every day, so that you don't lose something, Sage. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I want you to do is 4.25 pages 52 and 53. I want you to write down any unknown vocab. So I want you to write out any unknown vocab, and you're going to make yourself a list. The vocab that's in italics, folks, is not on this page for you. So if you don't know it already, you need to write it out. For instance, navium. Let's say you don't know navium. You're going to make a list, and it'll say nawis, nawis, and that means ship. If you happen not to know that. All right, so you're just going to make a list of unknown vocab. I want you to get through this at least once, maybe twice, but get through it at least once, pages 52 and 53. Try your best to translate, and then we'll translate that together on Wednesday. Okay? Any questions about that, guys? Yes, Tess.
Okay, so in RenWeb, I also saw that it said that we have a quiz Wednesday, but since we had the quiz today, do we still have one Wednesday or?
You know what, Tess? I think you probably did better on the quiz today than you would have done on Wednesday. That's kind of my thinking, if that makes sense. So I think that, and it was really on 4.24, but I think that'll probably suffice so that we don't necessarily have a quiz on Wednesday, if you're okay with that, since we just had one. Are you okay with that, Tess? Okay, great. Anybody have any objection to that? We can have another quiz on Wednesday, but I feel like we just did it in class. So you guys good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, folks. You now know your assignment. I'll change RenWeb to reflect it. All right, guys. Have a great day. Pax Vobis Cum.
Take him.
Take him.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bet.